The second very moving encounter with Srila Prabhupada was indirect. I was at that time having the service to wash Lord Nashishi Radha London Ishwara's Maha plates. You must know that at that time, when we all took our morning breakfast prasadam, Srila Prabhupada, and the temple was empty, Srila Prabhupada went downstairs and stood for quite a lengthy time before the deities and prayed to them, alone, without anyone being there. He would take his darshan and pray and then go back into his room. I had the service in the morning to wash the deity dishes, and because so many thoughts were going on in my mind, now I have decided to surrender. What will be the consequences? My girlfriend, to whom I was promised in marriage, had come to convince me to take up my old ways. My grandfather was dying at that time and requested me to come to his deathbed, where he would ask me to give up Krishna consciousness. And I was in turmoil, because in our family you had to agree to the wish of a dying man, but I could not agree to give up what I thought is finally the grace of the Lord on me. So I stayed in the temple, and I was in turmoil for various reasons, and I did not do a good job in cleaning the Maha plates. One morning, as I was there washing the Maha plates, being totally on the mental platform, the temple president came into the kitchen. His head was red. He stammered. He said, Prabhupada, he had darshan, and he said that Krishna told him that the plates are not nicely cleansed. There is still the old offering sticking to the plates. And he really said, whoever wishes the dishes has to do a good job from now onwards. This really woke me up from my dreaming. I was responsible. I had pondered over deeply important issues at that time, but had not performed my service accurately and nicely. And Krishna had complained to Srila Prabhupada. There was no other way than Krishna telling Prabhupada, because you know, when you have a dirty plate and you put the offering, maybe because it has to go so hurriedly on the altar, then the old remnants are covered with the new offering. So the only way a person who can detect this is either the cook, but he was too fast, or the one who eats everything. And this personality, Lord Krishna, had told Srila Prabhupada. So I was very much moved. It was I was very happy to hear this, that there is a direct connection between Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna, and became very inspired to surrender my life to Srila Prabhupada.
Now one day Prabhupada said in the morning, he said, you should all chant 64 rounds a day. We said, what? 64 rounds a day? No, we can't. And Prabhupada said, all right, 32 rounds. He said, oh, 32 rounds. No. Prabhupada said, all right, 16 rounds, no less. So that's how we started chanting 16 rounds a day. Now another time, here's a time when Prabhupada smashed me, that I would sometimes type for Prabhupada, and if there were some English mistakes, I would correct the English mistakes. So I was typing a letter to someone in India, and it says Sri Sri Radha Krishna. But I've heard of Sri, but I'd never heard of Sri Sri. Not only that, but one Sri was at the end of a line, and the next Sri was at the beginning of a line, and that's a common typing mistake. to type at the beginning of what you just typed on the last line. So I went into Prabhupada's room and I said, Sri Sri. And Prabhupada said, yes. And I said, oh, I thought it was a mistake. And Prabhupada said, when I type in your language, you can correct me, but when I type in my language, you cannot correct me. And then somebody walked in and Prabhupada said, I told him that when I type in his language, he can correct me. Now he wants to correct me when I type in my language.
About Srila Prabhupada's humble disposition, in spite of being the world Acharya, was displayed through one incident. It was in Holland. Srila Prabhupada went to Amsterdam. He was about to give initiation. Devotees were new and not trained properly, so they didn't know how to organize things. And they were making mistakes at every step. And Prabhupada was getting more and more annoyed. And then finally Prabhupada, when he came to the temple room, or whatever it was, the room which was where they used to get together, there was not a temple there at that time. Prabhupada saw the altar for the sacrifice, and he was very disappointed that it was not arranged properly. And he mentioned that there was no fruit on the altar. And so one devotee, he ran downstairs to the kitchen and he cut some fruits and brought it up. And he gave the fruit to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada got even more upset. So those days, one hippie kind of a person used to come to the temple quite regularly, and he used to notice that whenever someone would lose his cool, the devotees would tell him, why don't you chant Hare Krishna? So when he saw that Prabhupada was getting agitated, so he told Prabhupada, why don't you chant Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada quietly took his bead bag and started to chant.
And another time when Prabhupada smashed me, of course I had a background in professional recording and I knew some big stars at this, so I was a little proud of this. And Prabhupada had this tape recorder. It was a Roberts brand. It was at that time considered the best of the amateur tape recorders. But of course in those days there wasn't these nice little printed circuit things and these little tape cassettes. That technology was not popular yet. So machines were fixable. And I had experience fixing recorders, but I had experience fixing professional recording studios, they're multi-$1,000. So I wasn't so familiar with his machine. So Prabhupada said, it's broken. I said, well, maybe I can fix it. So I went and I looked at it and I said, well, what does this do? And Prabhupada said, you cannot fix it. You have to ask me, what does this do? How can you fix it? And somebody walked in the room and Prabhupada said, he wants to fix my tape recorder, but he has to ask me, what does this do? He cannot fix it. I was just burning with humiliation.